Hey there guys, what's up? It's Tony here. We're back for round 7 of our F1 2015 modded career mode in the McLaren Honda. We're here today for practice at the Canadian Grand Prix at the Circuit de... I can't even pronounce the bloody name of the circuit. What hope is there for me? But we've checked on the weather. There's going to be a 100% chance of rain during the race, so we best load a wet setup, and unfortunately I don't actually have a setup loaded for this track, so once again going into the quick car setup and then modifying it from there. So Canada, it's a decent track for me. It's a decent track. I mean, it's not the best track I'm at, it's not my favourite track, but it's not my worst. So to be honest, I'm expecting us to be in the midfield here. I mean, I don't think we can really compete with the Mercedes or the Ferrari down the straights. So we may be in the midfield to the back of the grid. So we're just going to spin later on into the session, and well, we're going to cut to our flying lap now. This is the end of our first flying lap, and we completely destroy the final chicane. I mean, we mucked up the braking under it, and I just thought there's no way we're going to make that corner at all. Massa sets the fastest lap of 1:20.4, and with that mistake our starting times are 1:25.3. So cutting on to the end of our second flying lap. It's been going well, but Vettel set the fastest lap, and look at this. Comes in front of us, overtakes us, and I think he was holding us up. So I went to the steward's office and they didn't say anything about it. They think he didn't hold me up or anything, but this lap wasn't going to be as fast as I hoped it would, because we actually went purple in the first sector. So coming down into the end of the first chicane, we'll get the braking right, hopping over the second curb, opening the DRS. It's a straight run to the line, and Vettel actually goes faster on a 1:19. We are on a 1:22, and with that we only move up from 20th to 15th. So there you go, confirmation. Sebastian Vettel setting the fastest lap of the race. On to the end of lap 5, and we completely stuff up the braking zone, and we're hitting the wall. Oh my god. I mean, we're gonna look on the replay again. I mean, look, I think it all basically went wrong for us at the turning point. So we're gonna slow the film down now, and look, clip the apex. We didn't turn quick enough. We went over the bump, the car became airborne, and from then on we were nearly a passenger. We were able to land it, and I think we just overcorrect it. So like, try to correct there, overcorrect, and the car just spins into the wall, and from then on we were just a passenger. And that's it. That was the end of our session. We go into the wall of champions, and that's pretty much the end of our practice. I mean, that's the second time we've been taken out, and we've basically DNF'd in practice. Last time at Monaco it wasn't our fault, but from the onboard view, see, try to overcorrect it, and yeah, there it is. But with that, we go 9th. We set a faster lap on our third lap, one in which we weren't held up, and yeah, so 9th place in practice. We've beaten our teammate once again, Lewis Hamilton, down there in 11th. And I didn't mean to click onto the replay. That's a bit idiotic of me. So Lewis Hamilton there in 11th. We actually beat him. Oh, he retired. It was Hamilton who retired, so I think he may have had a tangle somewhere. But Sebastian Vettel didn't get a penalty for holding us up, which I was very annoyed about. But we're in the garage now for the race, and as you can see, it's intermediate tyres. So we will either be starting on intermediate and going the whole way through the race on intermediate tyres, or pray to God it doesn't happen, the rain will get heavier and we will have to switch on to wet tyres. So that's the way it can go today. So let's go to the grid. So here we are, P20, as we will be for the whole of this series. We're switching it down into lean mix to save a bit of fuel and prevent wheel spin off the start. Lights out and away we go, and we actually get a decent start, shifting up into second gear quite early. Once again, trying to minimise wheel spin in conditions like these. But someone's lost their front wing end plate. I think it was from the Red Bull, so it may be from Ricardo, most likely, because he's just in front of Alonso here. But we're trying to go around the outside of Roberto Merhi, and that fell through. But we actually do it in the end. Diving up the inside of Will Stevens, our teammate going around the outside of Daniel Ricciardo, who was going slowly on the apex. So I kind of found myself boxed in, trying to go around the outside of Felipe Nasr, which ends up to be the inside, and down the inside of our teammate as well, who also was going slowly on the apex. A kick of oversteer on the way out of the corner, and we're up to 16th place, trying to chase down Marcus Ericsson and Daniel Ricciardo. And I think there was a bit of a crash just behind us, so we're just going to go and look on the replay quick. And who was it coming down just under the bridge? And it was the two Sauber cars. So that's not what's going to play out well. But coming back onto the action now, we've just taken Daniel Ricciardo coming into the hairpin. Carlos Sainz going very slowly on the apex, and that's because he's lost his front wing. I think he lost in all of that melee, so we're past him now, up to 13th place, and Kvyat has gapped us. 12th place has gapped us because of Sainz losing his front wing, and the spray is going to make it very difficult in this session to close down to the front field, because in the dry, don't forget, we only managed 9th position. Merhi up in 14th, so that's very good of him. Trying to continue his form from Monaco, I see. So we're going to switch up into standard mix now, because I think we will need to use the fuel to catch up to Kvyat in the Red Bull, because we did struggle in the dry. We only managed 9th position. So with the rain, I'm not sure how that will affect the car, because we didn't really have a rain affected session in practice, and as you know, we did miss qualifying. So yeah, so the rain, I don't have the storm mod on because that completely destroys my frame rate. I don't have the enhanced tire smoke either, so but saying that, we actually managed to close up to Kvyat quite a bit through the hairpin. So we're going to try and use his slipstream to try and gain a bit of an advantage on him, because the slipstream on this game is quite powerful. So coming into the chicane, the back end did start to drift out as on the exit, but we are still in Kvyat's slipstream. So coming on to lap 3, the gap was only 0.3 of a second, and we're going to try and go around the outside of Kvyat, and we're still trying to hang it around the outside. We get the move done round the outside of Daniel Kvyat. So that move there for 12th place in the Canadian Grand Prix, and now we're behind Pastor Maldonado in the Mercedes powered Lotus. So Although that Lotus is powered by a Mercedes engine, these two cars, the McLaren Honda and the Lotus Mercedes, feel quite similar in performance. So Verstappen there going very slowly. I think he's lost his front wing as well. So people are losing their front wings quite a bit in these tricky conditions. Maldonado really slowly off the exit of the hairpin, and we're trying to pull up beside him, and we tuck back into the slipstream. We're going to try and get the move done down here on the back straight into the chicane, right up his gearbox, pulling out of the slipstream, pulling back into the slipstream, trying to get any advantage we can, out braking him into the chicane. This McLaren is still very good on the brakes. Lewis Hamilton setting the fastest lap a 1:23.9, and our fastest lap is a 1:25.2, which we set on the previous lap of the race on lap 2. So we're behind Romain Grosjean now in the other Lotus. So we are now in a points paying position, and it's only a point at the moment, but a point's a point, so that's all that really matters. And Grosjean going wide there, missing the apex. So we did also. So the oversteer and more oversteer on the way out of the corner, cutting onto the end of lap 4, towards the end of lap 4. We're going to try and make the same move on Grosjean, coming into the chicane. We're right. We can actually reach out and touch his gearbox, and we pull the same move, but we weren't going to make the corner, so we had to cut across the chicane. And that's left us vulnerable to Maldonado, but he wasn't able to get past us. Lap 5, same spot again, but this time we're going to try and get him on the exit of the corner. Grosjean slow off the exit. We're going to try and pass him on the main straight, side by side into the first corner. We've set a purple lap time, and we get the move done quite easy. Grosjean tried to go for the switchback, but that didn't work. Our fastest lap is a 1:23.6, not 23.6, 23.8. That was beaten by Rosberg on a 23.7. But now closing up to the back of Sergio Perez, who was going really slowly through the second corner. And once again, we can actually just reach out and touch the gearbox of that Force India. And it's getting very difficult to pass now, because the top 8 are starting to pull away. Perez goes wide again. He leaves the door open, and we get past for 8th place. That was a bit of a mistake there from Perez. So we're going to look on the replay again. Perfect angle from this. Look, he's just left the door open, and it is an easy pass. That is just like Canada 2011, where Alonso got past Vettel. I think we did make a bit of contact with Perez's car, but we didn't lose our front wing. But cutting on to lap 15, we have not been able to catch up to Nico Hülkenberg in 6th place. I'm going to come into the pits because the engineer said that the weather was going to get worse, so we're going to switch over to some wet tyres now. The last time this happened was back in Malaysia, and the strategy call wasn't that good, so we're going to hope for a better one. The stop is a 3.8 second stop, so we've got about 3 laps left in this race on the wet tyres, and hopefully we should still come back out ahead of Perez, because I don't think the AI are going to make a stop now, even though it's wet conditions. So hopefully with the wet tyres we should be able to get our way back up through, make our way back up through the order. So lap 17, we're going purple again. Kimi Raikkonen's gone wide. He's gone off the track. He's still on intermediate tyres. Like I said, the AI haven't pit. Here we go, back on the replay. Raikkonen just went off the track, and there was a clean move round the outside of him as he rejoined the track. Lap 17, Daniel Kvyat, who's also on the intermediates, going very slowly. We've had to cut across the chicane again, but look at the traction we have on the cars ahead. So we're already starting to catch Kvyat up. Coming into the first corner, a bit of a dive bomb from 9 years back, and that's a simple move down the inside. I mean, we just have so much better traction than the AI. There's Sergio Perez, and we've made up the positions we've lost in the pit stop, so that's good, and hopefully we should be able to stay there. Nico Rosberg is in 6th place. I don't think I'm going to be able to catch him because he's 17 seconds up the road. So I happen to think P7 will be the best we can finish today. We didn't have the pace today, apparently, in this McLaren Honda. So, God, I'm starting to lose my voice now. So, we haven't had the pace today in this McLaren. So, we're just coming into the hairpin. There are 2 cars off. There are 2 cars off. I think it was Rosberg and Hulkenberg. We're going to look on the replay again. Coming into the hairpin. And cutting on board. And looks to be a Mercedes. And a Force India, is it? Yes, it's both Nico's. It's both Nico Hulkenberg and Nico Rosberg. They've had to come in together because I reckon they're still on intermediate tyres. So Lewis Hamilton wins the race, so it has to be Nico Rosberg who's crashed out, and Perez is behind me, so it's also Nico Hulkenberg. So those two have crashed out. So being on the wet tyres was actually a really good choice here. But coming through the final corners, I mean, what a strategy call from the McLaren Honda team. We're going to come home for 5th place in the Canadian Grand Prix.
That's a solid 5th place and 10 points. Good job.
Yep, that's another 10 points to our championship total. Looking down the order, and Alonso has scored points. Fernando Alonso in the sister McLaren, finishing in 9th position and picking up 2 points. He's finally got some points on the board. Well done, Alonso. Well done. Keep that form up. So I've just looked down further in the field. Both Saubers have DNF'd, both Toro Rossos have DNF'd, and both Nicos have DNF'd. Really weird race today. It's been a really weird one. But yeah, I can say I'm glad that we've brought home 10 points for our championship challenge, and I'm also very glad that Alonso has finally got some points on the board. So your top 3 are Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel and Felipe Massa. In the Drivers' Championship, we are still holding on to the championship lead by 14 points, then followed by both Mercedes, separated by only 1 point. And with those 2 points, Alonso jumps from 19th to 17th place. In the Constructors, Mercedes are still leading. We're still holding on to our lead over Williams by 7 points. So, all in all, good day in the office. But anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned for the next episode of F1 2015 Modded Career Mode. And goodbye.